Welcome to Spiritual Rebirth Tarot. I'm Madelyn. So nice to have you here. So today I would like to do a reading from our ancestors for the year 2021. So next year, what are the main things that we'll need to be looking at during that time? Now you may find that you watch like the Taurus and it doesn't resonate with you as well as you think it should. So maybe take your moon sign, your ascendant, your Venus, and maybe watch one of those signs and see if there's more resonance. You could also watch, some of the other signs for, like as a cross watcher, like maybe your best friend, is a Gemini or something like that. So go ahead and take a look at those. So this is a time when we are able to access our ancestors so much more than usual, because of the energies of the full moon. So come on over and learn more about the full moon. On the 31st, we'll be doing a special live on Facebook, and I have the link for Facebook below. So you can take a look at that. Live on the 31st, it's at 8:11 on Mountain Time. So try to have it at a time that's not too bad for the East Coast. It's not that good. It's 10 o'clock. But I was kind of worried about all the kids going around and doing Halloween, so I wanted to make sure it was after that. So I usually do it at 7, but this time I did it at 8 to make sure that the Halloween stuff is all done. I like to do it under the energies of the moon, so that's why I do it. And then if you would like a special reading from a certain ancestor, let me know ahead of time, and for $5 I'll be doing ancestor readings during that time. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. So now, the other thing I wanted to mention is that after this video, there will be an extended, and the link is below. The extended will ask, and I wrote down some of the questions so asking our ancestors, how do you see life on Earth? What would make it easier right now for us here on this earth? And some advice from our higher self, some of the blocks that we'll be facing. And all of this, some of those questions will be with 2021. So what blocks will we face? What energies do we need to look at for 2021 for the collective? Advice from our higher self. So some of those types of questions will come up in the extended. So feel free to watch that if those are some of the answers that you need. So I think that's everything. So we will be starting with Taurus. We'll go through each one of the signs. And then at the end, I usually do a collective reading. And so there will be timestamps. It'll take a few minutes to get those up. But there'll be timestamps for each one of the zodiacs, and then also the collective that you can watch at the end. So thanks for coming over to this reading. And the reading is, what kind of advice would our ancestors like to give us for 2021? And kind of looking at the more obvious thing and then the more challenging thing in that reading. So I had started this and then realized I had not talked about a lot of things at the beginning that needed to be discussed. So the two cards that I had pulled, the card at the top for the Taurus is the Swan, and I felt it was so good. We will start with that. Now the Swan energy talks about time for a deep dive. So it has a long neck, and it reaches its neck down under the water, and it eats kind of like what we would think of as the muck and the mud, but it finds all the little bugs and all the good things down in there. So even though it's this beautiful creature, and we think about it having this great commitment with its significant other, and all of those kind of things with the Swan, we can also think about how it likes to go deeply into things. So Taurus, in this year 2021, there'll be some things that you'll be studying in depth. And so kind of look for the things that you need to study in depth. I think so you need to look at the tree, you know, rather than the forest to go in deeply. And then on the other hand, the other card that you got, the giraffe, says, you know, to really look for that big picture. So look at the big picture. So the giraffe calls you to kind of take your head out of the sand, out of the, you know, savannah, and look at, you know, what is coming around. It's a protective element because it can see if there's danger coming. It's also a nutritional element because it can see where's the next tree to get its meal, and it's able to reach its meal clear up there. And so it's kind of seeing the forest for the trees. It's the big picture. So there will also be some ways during this year where you will need to see the big picture. And that will be the harder of the two. It's the underneath card. It's the soul card. It's the more of like the moon energy. So it'll be the harder one for you to do, to really see the big picture in life. And so Taurus, I pulled a couple of cards. Those are from Colette Baron Reed Spirit Animal deck. And then also I pulled a couple of cards from the Native American Tarot. So the first one is the Three of Cups, the Corn Dance. And so this card really shows, you know, a woman dancing around a fire with a lot of fire energy, dancing, fun energy, bringing in the energies of the moon. And so the moon is coming in and blessing her. The fire is encouraging her. And so there's something to do with this deep dive that you're going to do in this year, this next year, that will have to do with dance and freedom and of understanding how to kind of be your own person in this environment. Okay, so on the other hand, the other card is the Six of Pentacles, the giveaway dance. So there will be a time this coming year when you will be asked to give of yourself in a really major way for the collective. This card is like, you know, somebody getting married for the happiness of the two tribes. You know, so the man from one tribe and the woman from the other tribe getting married together and saying, we will now have peace. So during the year, there'll be a time when you will need to give of yourself for the sake of the community. And that probably will have something to do with seeing the big picture. So you'll see the big picture in the community that you're in, the collective, the world. In some way, you'll see that big picture and you'll know what you have to do to give towards at that time. So also the Three of Cups really has a lot of, connection and happiness together type of feel. So there will be times in this coming year when it'll be very important to kind of help the mood. They're both dance cards. Yeah, so it's kind of like a little dancing, a little happiness, and a little, let's have some fun kind of atmosphere for you in this coming year. Okay, so that is the message from your ancestors. So let's take a look at the next sign, which is Virgo. Okay, Virgo. So let's take a look at the energy of the cards. So these are the Colette Baron Reed Spirit Animal deck. So it's nice to put the Reiki energy into the deck. And before we started, I did spend some time asking for guidance and also for protection for us. So the electric eel, which is bring your ideas to life. Bring your ideas to life. So for this next year, there are going to be some definite ideas that you will have that kind of will be these aha moments. You'll be like, oh, I just thought of something. And that's kind of what the eel is. So, you're wading through the water and it's always really murky and you can't see anything. And all of a sudden, boop, the eel goes, zaps you. And you're like, aha. And so that's what the eel is about, is giving you that aha moment during the year. And the underneath of the deck, the thing that'll be harder for you to accomplish or deal with or know how to do is the Rhino spirit, overcome obstacles. And so the Rhino comes to us and says, you are going to have obstacles. I mean, that's just a given. We know that that's going to happen. You're going to have the obstacles. But how you face them is what's really going to make the difference. So should you just hit this one head on? Should you walk around it, completely skirt it and avoid it? Should you fly over it? Or another thing that she talks about with this card is that through magic, you just poof, make it go away. So in other words, depending on what the obstacle is, if it's an obstacle of a thought in your mind, this next year, you run into maybe a sense of lack. I know that I am never successful. I never do well. So Virgo, if you're having those kind of thoughts, changing your thought pattern can take away that obstacle, and you'll have a whole new direction. On the other hand, there may be a very physical obstacle that says you will not move, like you break your arm or something, and for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you have a lessened mobility. Learning how to work around that, work through it, is going to be really important. And there are other times when you're just going to barrel through your obstacles. So the obstacles at times will be a little difficult for you to face because you won't know exactly how to face them and what's the best way. So Virgo, you kind of like enjoy things to be just, just so and just the way they are. But there'll be some times this next year when you'll come across an obstacle and you'll just say, I've got to deal with this. So it's great because, these ideas are going to come to you, and as they come to you, you'll have these new ideas and new directions during the year. At the same time, there'll be some obstacles that you will be navigating around in your life. So let's take a look at the Native American Tarot. So all of the card decks that I use are in the description down below. And if you find that Virgo isn't resonating with you, you might try watching another one of your signs as well. Okay, so to go with the electric eel is the sun. So the sun has a couple of children on it. One is pointing at the sun, and the sun is more of a depiction of, kind of like one of those mandalas, a medicine wheel, some kind of artistic element that we draw. I kind of look at it and think of a beautiful window, or it could be the Mayan sun dial, and all that kind of thing. So the sun is saying to you that there will be a lot of beauty in your life. So some of these ideas that you'll have, the aha moments, will have to do with beauty and creativity, and kind of moving into more of that than maybe you're used to. So rather than just a grounding energy, the rhino would give, it has more of a watery and fiery type energy that the sun, Leo, and then the electric eel in the water is going to give. So you're going to have a mixture of different elements, of beautiful elements coming together. The other thing I think of when I see that is You know, when you're making a tapestry, and a lot of times you don't know what the final product is going to look like. Or maybe you're doing a, cross stitch. You know, it just has these weird blocks of color. And when it's all done, it's this, beautiful picture that you're looking at. And you're like, wow, that's gorgeous. And so there may be times in your life during 2021 where you're like, I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing or what's being created here. But when you turn around, you look at the other side and it's all done, you see the full picture. It's going to be one of these beautiful, mandalas coming into your life. And so then on the underneath of the deck is the Sun Dance. So you have, that's interesting, Sun and Sun Dance. And then also they are both major arcana cards. So the Sun, and then the Sun Dance is actually, I think it's the Hangman. And in this depiction, this particular experience of the Sun Dance is an initiation into being a shaman. And sometimes some of the meanings of the Hangman is actually a connection of heaven to earth. And so that's what I see more here is, they're in meditation around him, quiet meditation, as he hangs there to the point of death. And as he goes through this experience where he nearly dies, he is transformed into a new being that is one of the leaders in the tribe and a really strong healer in the tribe. So this Sun Dance. And so some of the obstacles that you face, you'll feel like you're almost ready to die in some ways. But know that as we come to the brink of whatever's going on in our life, the new beginning that comes out will be magnificent. So come over to the extended and get some of the insights from your higher self and some of those things for the new year 2021. Okay, so now let's take a look at the next Capricorn. So Capricorn, welcome to the reading. Let's take a look at the Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. And you can find any of the decks listed down below if you find one of them to be especially beautiful or meaningful for you. Okay, so what kind of energies are coming through for you from the ancestors for 2021? What messages would they like to give you from your ancestors for 2021? So this is putting Reiki energy into the deck. Okay. The Turkey Spirit. And underneath the deck is the Whale. So the Turkey is all about gratitude and grace. And in some ways, I think, well, that is kind of, typical. The turkey we eat at Thanksgiving, and that's about gratitude. But I think also, it really is true that the turkey comes to us and says, be grateful for the life you have. Be grateful for what you have this coming year. So in 2021, one of the things there may be something important in November that will happen, significant at that time with this card coming up, kind of reminiscent of Thanksgiving in the United States. It could also be that the turkey is pointing you in a new way of looking at life. When you wake up in the morning, thank you for this beautiful bed. Thank you for somewhere to sleep. Thank you for the lifestyle that we have, that we each have our own place to sleep. Whatever is true for you, and that true gratitude in your heart and grace in your life, and giving grace to others in the way that you live will be really important in this coming year. And so it might be that Capricorn, you are faced with some difficulties, especially in your job, where you're going to have to create a lot of gratitude and grace in order to overcome those obstacles. Now, the thing that will be more difficult for you is to trust. And the whale has to, move through the water. It trusts the water. It trusts its voice that it can get out to the other whales. It trusts the environment that it's in. And it also brings to us this concept of light and dark. So when you look at a whale from below, you see the light, because when you look up, you're going to see the sky. But then if you're in the sky and you're looking down at the water, you can't see the whale very well because its back is black or dark. And and the water looks that way too. So it has a sense of camouflage by having both the light and the dark, the yin and the yang. And so the whale will come to you this time and say, balance out your life. Find that balance, Capricorn, that you're really looking for, that grounding effect that the confidence of the yin and the yang has. Now, I was thinking about this the other day, and traditionally, the yin and the yang, like maybe it's even like male and female and those kind of energies. And each of us has more of a male energy or more of a female energy. Divine masculine, divine feminine. Now, that doesn't mean that you're like a man or a woman. It means that that's kind of the energies that you feel and you portray. So like, for instance, for me, I tend to have more of a masculine energy because my North Node is in Capricorn. What do you know? Hi, Capricorn. Which is all about father and working outside and being aggressive in your career. And so having that aspect then creates more of a masculine energy in my relationships, in my home, and in my life. So the thing that I wanted to bring out is, I think rather than the yin-yang being, the dark being the female and the light being the masculine, it's that the masculine has both of the light and dark in them, and the feminine has both the light and dark in them. Just like all of the whales have the yin and the yang, and it helps to protect them, to guard them, and to move their lives in where they live. And so I think each one of us, our environments will have a factor in who we are and how we live. So in 2011, I think you'll have a better understanding of the protective nature of both understanding the light and the dark, and that the dark is an absence of light, and that as we shine light on the dark crevices of our lives, and we bring light into those, we can raise our vibration to a higher level in our lives. So let's take a look at a tarot card for each one of these energies. And this tarot deck is the Native American deck. Love that. I was thinking, since it's the Ancestors, I'll use the Native American deck. Message for 2020 from the Ancestors. So the Shaman, which is the Hierophant, and underneath, so both of them are Major Arcana again, the Tower. Okay, so there's going to be some formal aspect to the gratitude and grace that you'll need to have. So it might be that you'll have to be gracious in a public place and for a public cause. And the shaman also brings that energy of, hope and healing into your life, larger than life type of an experience. We have both the sun and the moon, the light and the dark coming in. And some aspect of your gratitude will be larger than life, and you'll need to show a graciousness that you would not otherwise have. So Capricorn, and also the Hierophant energies. So those, having that sense of purpose and direction, and just kind of this larger than life type situation. So then, when we're looking at the whale and some of these things that we're talking about, having the tower there. And the thing that I'm being drawn to right now is that in this tower energy, there's actually a lightning bolt that's hitting a creature who is actually a coyote, a human that's dressed as a coyote. And that is the Fool card. No, it's the Magician, I think, in this deck. So it could be that you're going to have a breakdown, because if it's the Magician, I think you'll have a breakdown in your understanding of how things are brought together in both the external and the internal. And so talking about that connection of the light and dark is going to be really important. You can see a lot of light and dark in this card. You have the sun and the moon. You have the shadows in the open. You have the breaking down, the falling down of the pieces. But at the same time, I think it has to do more with a intellectual capacity of balancing the light and the dark in your life. So I'm going to pull another card or two to kind of help us understand. So these are by MJ, and they are the Guardians of the Night Tarot. Let's pull a few cards for you, Capricorn, to explain the Tower better. Because the Tower is always, it's always good to get a couple of cards to see where is that Tower going in your life. So that kind of immediate change. So sometime in 2021, your ancestors are telling you, be ready for this direct change, and let's see in what relation it is. Okay, so the Seven of Wands, which has to do with courage. The Five of Pentacles, which has to do with lack, not feeling like you had enough. And the underneath, the Page of Wands. And it's kind of, it's like a crow that's collecting all of its favorite things. And also using things to kind of like hide something that it doesn't want to be seen. So you might have an experience during the year, and this will be different for different people, but you'll have an experience during the year that's going to take a lot of courage and a lot of direction and a lot of focus. You kind of have to be the big kahuna, the big guy that says, no, that deer is mine. You are not getting anywhere near it. And you have the courage to face the challenges that you're going to face. And part of what you're facing are, you know, this, I'm not a cat, I'm not a butterfly, I'm just a caterpillar. You know, you know, I've done all these things, I've tried all these different things, but nothing seems to be working. And so kind of that downtrodden feeling of just not having enough. And that's what will be broken down in your life, so that kind of this new focus, this new passion, this new energy will come into you, but also kind of maybe a love for home and family more than usual, Capricorn. Like normally you are, like we say, you know, kind of out there doing your careers and stuff. But something will happen where you'll become more inward focused and directed at the home. So, and to get through that, understanding your darker sides, you know, and shining light upon them will help you understand and get through those times better. Okay, so let's move on to Gemini, the air signs. Okay, Gemini. Let's take a look first at the Spirit Animal Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. It's a really beautiful deck and great energies. And we'll take a look at what do your ancestors want to tell you, Gemini, about 2021. So, you know, if your ancestors coming to you today, you know, the veil is thin, they can communicate with you. And what do they have to say about 2021 coming up? Okay, so spirit animal is the koala. That spirit has a plan and a direction for your life. And then the underneath of the deck, the thing that'll be more difficult for you to face is to take a leap of faith with this grasshopper. So the energy of the koala is kind of interesting because a koala can spend most of its life kind of in one place, eating, resting. In this case, it's kind of meditating and contemplation. And so the koala comes to you and says, you know, take that time that you need. Find that quiet place in your life, Gemini, to really absorb the things that you're learning during 2021. But as you do that, don't stay in one place forever. And that's the other half of the message of the koala is don't stay there forever. There's times when you're going to need to move and grow to a new place, to find new food, to find new, inspiration in your life. And so meditation and prayer is very important, but also moving forward into new directions and new locations as necessary. And so because of that, there'll be a time, once or two times during the year where you'll need to take a leap of faith into something new, something that's being offered to you or directed to you. And many times a grasshopper will just sit there quietly and do nothing. But then you get really close and you touch its, kind of like a tail or whatever, and boop, it bounces away. So the grasshopper knows when to move and when not to move, and it's not going to have sudden motion. So the koala and the grasshopper are your animal spirits for this coming year. And it's actually a really great combination because the koala is very shy, quiet, and withdrawn. And then the grasshopper is very forward goes for it and gets what it needs and stays away from the predators and things that are trying to get it. And that's great for Gemini too, because of the dual personality that we all have, and I'm a Gemini too, and the kind of the direction that we have to face at times, knowing that at times we're quiet and calm in contemplation during the year, and at other times we need to be moving, growing in the right direction. But don't leap into something without knowing that it's the right thing. And so what do? You follow your heart and you're in alignment with what is correct. So let's take a look at the Native American tarot deck here. So all the decks are down below in the description. So you can take a look at those if any of them interest you. So thinking, because we're asking the ancestors about 2021, let's take a look at the Native American cards. So some of us will have Native American ancestors. Okay, ancestors, what would you like to tell us about 2021? Okay. So the card on the top is the Journey, which is the Six of Swords. So in the regular tarot, he's in the boat moving along to an unknown destination, and here, he's gotten ready. He may not know exactly where he's going, but he's headed out on this journey. And a lot of times we do have a map and a plan. You may not know where it's headed. But there will come, it's interesting that it has to do with the Qualla. So the Qualla, the spirit has a plan. So there is a plan, there is a direction in this movement. And know that there are times when movement will be necessary. Movement in a new direction, a new focus, and new energy. And that's where that leap of faith will come in. So the Qualla says spirit has a plan. And so part of this journey, we'll be planning for the journey, deciding where you're going, how you're going, when you're going, how long it's going to take, and preparing for that journey in every way that you can. Now, obviously, there are always things that come up that we're like, how did that happen? But your ancestors are saying, this year is going to be, in many ways, is going to be a journey that you will have well planned for. And the underneath of the deck is Stickball, which is the Five of Wands. And so they're all they're fighting together. They're having fun. It's play. So they're play fighting. And so this leap of faith may put you in a position where the people around you are not happy with you. They don't really understand where you're going or what direction you're taking. So there might be at a time, Gemini, during this year, where you will have to take a journey that you have planned in a direction you need to go in that no one else is going to understand. You really are going to be alone, because as you try to fight and to play, it just really isn't the energy that you can take with you, and you have to take your own journey in your own direction. So this is going to be a great year for you, Gemini. There's a lot of movement and growth, and at the same time, have that quiet, morning contemplation, meditation, do your tarot, whatever you do to kind of help you be grounded and ready for every day. Okay, so Aquarius, let's take a look. All right, Aquarius, let's take a look at asking our ancestors. So ancestors, when we're looking at 2021, what would you like us to know about that year? Okay. So the top of the deck is the Sandpiper. Be playful. So there might be some times this year when things are getting kind of bogged down and you have a hard time knowing what to do next and, you know, how to go, how to maneuver. Just enjoy a little play, and that will help you to release your mind and know where to go. Now, it's very fascinating to me, this photo. This is the Spirit Animal Oracle deck with a Colette Baron Reed. And you can find the link down in the description to look more at her deck. It's such a beautiful, beautiful photo. So we look here at the Sandpiper and we notice that it's walking around on lily pads. And sandpipers just have nothing to do with the part of the country that has lily pads. They're at the ocean. And so, to me, part of this is silliness. It's not only playful, but it's also silly. It's really silly to put a sandpiper around a pond that has lily pads. And it's walking around. It's staying above the water. And so it's magical, it's silly, it's funny, and it's playful. And so Aquarius, during this year that's coming up, there'll be times when you'll be faced with a lot of like drudgery. You'll be like, man, this is boring. Well, find a way to make it fun and to include the play. So the underneath of the deck, the thing that'll be harder for you to do is to take time out. So the brown bear is asking you at times to take time out from the cares of the world. And so it's the type of animal that eats really well in the fall and then goes to sleep during the winter and comes back in the spring ready to go again. So we can look at the bear as coming into the time of spring, finding itself, new life, new direction, new focus, coming out of hibernation. We can also look at the bear's energy as, taking that time out, going, finding that restful place that you will need to recuperate yourself. And it is the ninth card. So it definitely has that energy of coming to the end of a cycle. And I happen to notice that behind it is this beautiful wheel, which in a way could be a wheel of time. And so it could be that during this year, there'll be times when time is very important to you. And even though time is really relative, in other words, the past, present, and future are all happening at once in other realms. And that's probably what the ancestors would tell you, is that, the past, present, and future are not something to worry about because they're all one. But in that same time, sometimes you need to take time out and to have that time out moment to get away from what's going on in your life. And I think you'll do that with play. Okay, so let's take a look at the Native American Tarot deck. And what are ancestors wanting to tell us more about this time of 2021? Okay, so the top of the deck is Union, which is the Two of Cups. So it's one of my favorite cards because, the Lover's card could seem kind of maybe hard to deal with sometimes in whatever it might be talking about. But here is the companion. So whether it's, a love companion or a family companion or a friend companion or whoever may be in your life, you're coming together. So when you play, don't do it alone. During this sandpiper spirit, silliness, fun, and playfulness, bring the other people in your life into those energies. Bring them up into those energies as well. So the underneath of the deck is the Maiden of Pipes. And the Maiden of Pipes is the Page of Cups. No, Page of Wands. And in this case, she has a lot of fiery energy. You can see she's kind of unhappy about something. The fire is going. She has, she's having to serve. At the same time, she's all dressed up with nowhere to go. And so you can see she's all dressed up and ready to go, but she's having to just bring this pipe to the old man. So there may be a time that in order to deal with your life and you're having to take a time out, it's because you're just getting frustrated and irritated with the way things are. You know, maybe either as a man or a woman, you can be frustrated about the roles and the gender roles that we have overall in really our whole world. You know, and that maybe as a woman you feel like you're dressed up with nowhere to go. So for this next year, Aquarius, there'll probably be times where you're just going to need to take a time out for yourself. So you don't say the wrong thing to the wrong person. And you can kind of change your mind from being irritated to playful. And through that time out, through that meditation, through the time of contemplation, and kind of that hibernation that the bear has. Think about the bear is so big and strong. I mean, which one of us wants to go up against the bear with a fist fight? None of us. You have that strength and you have that ability, and yet you still need to take the time out in order to offer to the world what you really need to give. So during this next year, when you need it, take the time out, play, and have time with your friends. Okay, so let's take a look at Libra and your energies. All right, Libra, let's take a look at the Spirit Animal Oracle for you first. And what we're asking is the ancestors to come and share with you some of the important messages for 2020. So what do you need to focus on, especially during the year 2021? Said that wrong. 2021. Okay, so the top card is the Coyote, Trust and Divine Detours. And the underneath is the Bee, Libra. Oh, it's beautiful. I love that one. Sweet results await. So 2021 has some sweet results for you, Libra. So that is really great. Trust and divine detours. So there will be some times in 2021 when you're feeling like things just aren't going as quickly as you'd like, or there's kind of like a block that you're having to walk around, or something's going on where you're having to make, a change of direction, something along those lines. So during those times, just remember to talk to the angels, and to trust the universe to lead and to guide you around these obstacles, and know that sweet results await. So part of this detour that happens is preparing for the sweet results to come in. So let's take a look at the tarot. So, when we think of a bee, it creates that beautiful honey for us, but it also can sting. So there might be times where you'll have to be dealing with a sting. What are some of the stings? A little loss in income, if you're dating, a breakup. I don't see a relationship change, like a divorce, as a sting. I think it's much more than that. But a detour could be maybe having to live in other parts of the country for a while. There could be something coming up in 2021 that'll kind of throw you off your game for a while. So you can watch for those. So let's take a look at the Native American Tarot. So I always list the different decks in the bottom. So you can take a look if you want any of them. Highly recommend these. Great energies. So the Corn Maiden is the number 2, which is the High Priestess. And so that is what you got for the Coyote, is the Corn Maiden. And under Umai is 2 major arcana cards, Libra, so you're certainly going to have a important year in many ways. The Strength card, number 8, the Strength card for the bee. So with some of these detours, some things that may happen that are a little tricky or a little unknown, go back to the basics. You know, she's sitting here. She may have this big headdress. She's doing the ceremony related to, wealth and health and happiness during the year. But at the same time, she's working with one of the most simple things, the grain and the corn that they eat, and so it's beautiful. Anytime these things are happening and getting in the way, go back to your roots, go back to the beginning. So your ancestors are telling you, we'll be there. Come and ground. She's on the ground, on her knees. Come and ground your source and your resources, and we'll help you get through these times. And as you go through that, one of the sweet results will be strength. So you will have an abundance of strength, and this strength is a feminine energy. It's one of those beautiful wildcat, and so coming into you is a strong feminine energy, whether you're male, masculine or feminine, to have this feminine strength, and I love the water flowing through it. So Libra, even though you are a air sign this year, focusing in on grounding with the earth and drinking of the water and purifying with the water will be 2 important aspects that will help bring on this strength that you need. She's on her knees as well. So both of them were on their knees. There's actually, I read in the reading that I did for, I believe it was the fire signs, one of the archetype cards that came up in the extended was prayer. And it was talking about being prostrate, being on your knees, in prayer on the ground. And that's something good to do. So there are times when maybe you'll be outside meditating, on the ground and grounding this next year. It'll really help you to focus your energies. Okay, so let's take a look at the next sign here, which is Cancer. Welcome, Cancer. Okay, let's take a look at the Animal Oracle deck first for you. This Colette Barron reads great animal spirits. If you're interested in any of the decks, they're listed below in the description. And what I like to do is put the Reiki energy into the deck, and it will help guide me to the right card. So the Canary, sing your own song. So Cancer, during this year, 2021, your ancestors are telling you it's important to sing and to sing your own song. And the Pig Spirit, use your mind wisely. So both of these have that, element of flight and, You can see, you know, both of them have the element of light. So the Canary tells us that even in that situations where you feel stuck, you know, you're in a cage, you're all alone in the dark, down in a cave somewhere, sing that song. Use your throat chakra. If you're not a singer, still, you know, in some ways use this throat chakra to help you communicate and to listen and to have that be a part of your life. And the colors are both the blue, which is the throat, and also the solar plexus, which has to do with, you know, our personal power and our, you know, self-esteem and things like that. So the Canary helps to remind you, bring out, Cancer, bring out your self-esteem in this next year. Really work on your self-esteem. And as you do that, you'll be able to sing your own song no matter who around you wants you to be doing this or that. And as you go through those experiences, what may be more difficult for you is wisdom. So wisdom is really when understanding is brought together, and it's rare that a super young person has a lot of wisdom. They could, but they typically don't have a lot of wisdom because they don't have a lot of experience and understanding to bring in. So if you're an old soul, early on in your life, you're probably going to have more wisdom. But as you go through life, you gain all of this knowledge and understanding and experience in your lives. And as you're collecting that and gaining that, and using your mind in a wise manner, you know, that the wisdom will come into your life. So using your mind wisely also has to do with, you know, what are you thinking about? So do you spend most of this next year playing video games? And that can be a good use of your mind, but not constantly, because you can learn a lot of skills through those things. Or maybe you're just going to watch videos that other people produced. Or are you going to spend, use your mind wisely, Cancer, you know, this next year? So your ancestors saying, you know, read more books, spend more time in deep thought and learning more of how to think clearly. So let's take a look at the Native American Tarot deck and see a couple more messages here. So the first one is contentment. And the second is Maiden of Pipes. It's the second time that's come up. Underneath. You know, I just saw what the other one is, and I'm going to pull that too. Vision Quest. So Cancer, as you know, in the next year, your ancestors are saying, as you are learning about, you know, singing your own song, boosting your self-esteem and your self-confidence, contentment will come into your life, a sense of peace. And these children, they're riding a pony. It is a little bit warm. They have enough water, and they're content and happy in their play. And so also with the children being here, some of you, Cancer, may be looking at some of your childhood memories, working on your inner child, bringing your inner child out to the forefront. And then with thinking wisely, you know, we're talking about, you know, spending time in meditation and questing. And she's gotten all dressed up, she's got her hair done, she has her ceremonial clothes on. You know, you have that ceremonial fire, and it's basically the Page of Wands. And so there might, in this thinking, there may be an element of you know, passion or creativity in the sacral chakra that will come out. And understanding that better will come from, you know, vision questing, spending time in contemplation and meditation, and that will help you to use your mind more wisely. Okay, Cancer, I hope this helps you, and let's move on to Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio, let's take a look at the Spirit Animal deck by Colette Baron Reed. It's a great deck. You can look down below for all the different decks that I have at this time and that I enjoy and I recommend. And put a little Reiki in the deck. Help guide us to the right card. Armadillo, set healthy boundaries. Okay, Scorpio, so this year, there's going to be some grounding, because an armadillo is definitely grounding energy. It's on the earth all the time. So even though you are a water sign, you have a lot of passion and sometimes drama and a lot of expression and a desire to really live a full life. An important part of that will be grounding. And in that grounding, there'll be boundaries that are placed. Now, you could place artificial boundaries this next year. You know, the ancestors are saying you could place artificial boundaries, which are kind of just, well, I only date older guys, or I'm a guy, I only date younger girls. But those are kind of artificial. You know, how long someone's been on the planet may not be the most important boundary. And that's, you know, I heard talk recently about boundaries, and I'm thinking about boundaries, and I've been talking to my kids about boundaries and how do I love my kids, respect them, be a relational mom. I realize I'm a relational mom. And at the same time, set the boundaries that they need to have to grow up to be good adults. And of course, part of that is to not be their friend, but to really be their mom. Knowing that as their mom, I am their friend. So the underneath surrender now is the moth. And so, you know, here we have, you know, both something that's very on the ground, you know, creating boundaries. It's very strong and supportive. And then there's the moth that's very flighty. And it goes after all the pretty lights. You know, it's not a butterfly. And, you know, it goes toward the pretty lights. It does the beautiful things. It's interesting because the armadillo is the 3. And setting boundaries definitely has to do with other people. If you're all alone, what boundaries are you going to set? So it definitely has this companionship. And then also 3, the house of 3 is communication, local community. So, you know, boundaries in your home and communicating those boundaries. Then the numbers for the moth, surrendering. So there'll be some things during the year that you need to surrender to, are 3 and 9. So we usually will add those, and we end up with a 3 again, because 3 plus 9 is 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. So numerology, we end up with another 3. But also I'm looking at, you know, 3 and 9 are divisible by 3. So, you know, the moth is telling you you're going to need to surrender things, both in your home, in your community, and your collaboration with others in the 3, but also in your understandings of the spiritual part of your life, the 9, coming to the end of the cycle, the end of the journey, the beautiful culmination of life. So as you're understanding that better, there will be things that you need to surrender. Maybe belief systems that you've held for a long time that you'll be surrendering or changing. So Scorpio, you'll have a very beautiful year filled with these energies of, you know, getting along better and having a better relationship with the people around you. So let's take a look at, because there's a lot of threes here. Let's take a look at the Native American deck, the tarot, Native American tarot. And let's see what our ancestors saying about 2021. So in the year 2021, we have the Tower. You know, even my deck was upside down. I'm going to go ahead and leave the Tower upside down because I've seen the Tower upside down before in this deck, and I love it. So, and then on the underneath of the deck is the, which is the things that are a little harder for us or we don't know, don't know as much about, is the Warrior of Blades. Okay, the Warrior of Blades is the Knight of Swords. Underneath that is the Justice and the Devil. So there might, well, the Devil is the Scorpio. No, that's a death card. The Devil is Capricorn. So Libra and Capricorn. 11 and 15. There may be some, you know, for some of you, with these coming out, there might be someone in your life, it's either Libra or Capricorn, that will be of interest in the year 2021. Also, that's kind of just the message that I get from that. So when we're looking at the Tower that's in reverse, the Tower in reverse all of a sudden becomes, it's hard to see until you do it this way, but it's actually an underground bunker. If you look at the very top there, it's like it's the earth, you know, with little plants and stuff and a flag to tell you where it is. And there's two holes that go in, and it's an underground bunker. An underground bunker that goes to an upside down world. So to me, when I'm using this deck and I get this card and I see it in reverse, I see it more as that something in 2021 will be turned completely upside down for you. Or if you don't create these boundaries, then that kind of upside down thing will happen. But also that life will be hidden away in some ways. That the world will be hidden away. Life will be hidden away. Everything will be underneath and quiet and calm and peaceful. And maybe it's because of those boundaries. You may also, it's almost like these people are getting lost in that world. And so you may also lose some people. They may decide to not be your friend anymore. And that's okay. Because setting healthy boundaries is more important in the long run. Trust me. We learn. So the moth is coming to us and it's saying there's some thoughts that you're going to have to change and new directions you're going to have to go in. And some of those will come on very quickly. And to protect yourself, you'll need some extra special skills and strength. And so, you know, hone up skills in the body, the mind, the soul, and the spirit. And in Reiki, we learn about all the bodies. So, you know, there's the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual bodies that are around you in your aura that you can heal through Reiki and through its energies. And so when we're doing that, you know, I'm bringing that up because these special skills that you'll need to have and the things that you might need to learn on might have something to do with shoring those up in some way. You know, spending time in meditation on each of these etheric bodies that are around you and helping them to be shored up and to have a strong, kind of like a boundary around you. Every day you can, you know, ask the angels to place a protective boundary around you to keep out anything that's not for the highest and best good. And that's the best way to say it. You don't want, like, to not feel the love of someone around you or something. So you want to have come through the boundary only the things that are for the highest and best good, you know, for you. And so Michael, and especially, loves to come with us with his blue light, his blue energy, and Uriel and Raphael. They come to us and they place these boundaries of protection around us. So I don't know how, somehow I just thought of that, you know, he has these special skills, and it may be physical abilities that you're going to need to learn. And it might be spiritual connections. And it may be that one of these people, either Capricorn or Libra, will be a special key in that in 2021. Or it might be a Libra Capricorn or a Capricorn Libra, with both the combination of things. Okay, so let's go on to the next group, Pisces. So Pisces. All right. Okay, Pisces, let's take a look at the Animal Oracle deck. I love this deck by Colette Baron Reed. Read quite a few of the, I still need to read more of them, because her take on the animal just has such a unique flavor. You know, if you are thinking of buying an Oracle deck, and I have the links below, Pisces, I have the links below that you could get it. This is my favorite. I think this is the first deck I bought of all the decks, was this this Colette Baron Reed's Spirit Animal Oracle deck. And then the second deck that I bought was this tarot deck, which is the Llewellyn. I love this deck. So those were my first two decks. And later I got, you know, the traditional, all the other stuff. But I don't know, I'm not very traditional. Okay, so we'll put Reiki in the deck for you, Pisces. So Pisces are the people who watch the most videos. Just so you know, if you put out a Pisces video, you get the most views on YouTube. All right, please subscribe. So the grasshopper, taking a leap of faith. So this next year, your ancestors are telling you there's going to be some leaps of faith, some new directions. So are you going to be like the fool and just go for it? Or are you going to be like one of the pentacles and plan first? Either way, you're still taking a leap into something new. And then Pisces, will look here at the seahorse, watch and wait. The seahorse has this beautiful energy of it's an 8. It's like the infinity, and it is. It's like stopping for infinity. And I think we come to the point where, like, I think a good example of that is actually shaman journey. And I've had the opportunity to have shaman journeys 2 or 3 times. And during those journeys, it's like time doesn't exist. So it's the stopping of the time. It's the infinity, the watching and the waiting, and that moment, the moment between the moments, the time in between that happens. And then also remember, the seahorse kind of changes of the genders. The guy takes care of the babies, which is kind of different. So the grasshopper, take a leap of faith. There may be some times during this year, the ancestors are telling you that you'll need to go into something a little bit different than you have before. And you're not going to see how this is going to benefit you, or others around you won't understand, but it's your heart, your intuition that's guiding you. And taking this time in meditation and prayer, cultivation of that kind of consciousness will really help you to understand where you should go with these leaps of faith. So let's take a look at the tarot deck, the Native American Tarot. This is, I think, maybe the third one that I bought. So here we go. Reiki energy. I love the ancestors talking to us through the Native American deck. Happy family. Oh, how could you get a better card? 10 of Cups. So a lot of you, the leap that you do will actually take you to something really awesome. You know, it's interesting. I was watching a Gemini reading, Awakening to Spirit, Cindy. She's really amazing. Probably one of the best people that I watch. And she was talking. She got these two cards together, basically. She got the Fool, you know, taking a leap of faith. And then she got the 10 of Cups as the, you know, so it was 10 of Cups, and then right after it, the 5 of Pentacles. So you took a leap of faith, you thought you were going to something good, and it didn't work out, is what her message was. This didn't do that. The Matriarch of Pipes is actually really good. It's the Queen of Wands. So I think that most of the leaps that you do that you think are going to be good will be good and stable. It might be a little more work than you're looking for, but it'll be along the right path. And then Pisces, when we're looking at this, the underneath of the deck, the Chief of Blades, which is the King of Swords. And so that really strong, and right under it is the Magician. Oh, cool. It looks like he's going to shoot him. There might be somebody in your life that you're going to have to go meditate in order to feel better about. The Chief of Blades looks really stern here. And it's interesting how he's bringing a gun to a knife fight. You know, kind of. The King of Swords is just, it's the truth. It's the clarity. It's seeing things clearly. And so this watching and waiting that you'll do during the year will help you to see things more clearly. And by seeing things more clearly, you'll be able to manifest more of those things into your life. Now, the thing about the coyote here, the manifestation in this card deck is that it doesn't care what you manifest, whether it's good or bad. Your thoughts will lead, you know, these beliefs will lead to these actions. So listen to Abraham Hicks this next year in 2021, and it will help you to change your thoughts and your beliefs to have a better manifestation in your life. Okay, so the next group is Aries. Hi, Aries. Okay, let's take a look. The ancestors are telling you for the year 2021. So we're going to start with some cards from the Spirit Animal deck, Collect and Read. I really love what she offers to us, both the explanations and the beauty of the cards, the animals. So, Aries, what would your ancestors like to tell you for 2021? So I like to put the Reiki energy in the deck. It helps to get the right card. Time to let go. Oh, interesting. What are you going to let go of? 31, which is 4. You might actually let go of some stability. Or you may let go of your heart. You may be holding things in your heart that need to be let go. Letting go is one of the hardest things to do. So there are some things that we should hold on to, and her cards are always, they have both messages. So on the one hand, during the year, there'll be some things that are supposed to go, but there are also some things you may be tempted to kick to the curb that you need to deal with. You know, maybe there are things that you need to look at, patterns that need to be addressed. You know, in 2021, there might be a house that you shouldn't sell or a car that you shouldn't trade in. So there may be some things that you need to hold on to, just like the groundhog does. You know, the groundhog holds on to things in his little pouch. And when I think of the four, you can think of the Four of Pentacles and how he's holding on to the Pentacles. So he can be security to hold on to the Pentacles, to save your money, to do those kind of things. At the same time, you know, so many times giving when we have the least. You know, volunteer your time if you are not working. You know, what can you do, Aries, to give to the world, to let go of those things, even in a tough time? Oh, wow, we had this, it was one of the other cards in Cancer or something, with the armadillo. So it's the second time with the armadillo. The armadillo is the 3. It's actually the 3 card. The armadillo comes to us as so lumbering. It's so earthy, Aries, and it just doesn't have much of that fiery energy at all. But it says to set boundaries. And so, oh, that's great, because letting go and setting boundaries actually go together, because there could be things that you let go of in order to have the boundaries in your life that you really need. So let's take a look at the tarot. This is the Ancestors talking through the Native American deck here. Maiden of Shields, which is the Page of Pentacles. You see the beautiful stag in the background? The stag talks about taking the lead, helping other people find a new direction. And so part of either letting go or holding on in your life this year will have to do with being a leader. And it might be that you have to let go of the parameters that other people have set and to take a new, bold stand as a leader at this time. And the underneath of the deck is the Journey, the 6 of Swords. And so as he journeys along, he knows the truth, he knows his direction, he's planned his trip, and he's created the boundaries that he needs in order to go in the direction he needs to go. He's rebalanced his life, and she has determined to follow her path. So as you may need to set some boundaries this next year, Aries, that will help you to follow your path, to go toward that fiery energy of light of who you really are, to manifest who you are in the world. So there's definitely a lot of grounding energy here. And so I do feel that during this year, probably a lot of work on the base chakra, and then also the heart chakra, and bringing those into alignment will be important. Okay, so let's take a look at the next sign, which is Leo. Okay, Leo, let's take a look at the cards for you. These are Colette Baron's Spirit Animal deck, and I really love her take on our spirit animals. They really help with a lot of guidance. So Ancestors, we're asking you to guide us in 2021. So yeah, guide Leo in 2021. What messages do they need to hear? So take time out, the brown bear. All right, we got that in another one as well. And the porcupine, time for a beginner mind. So the underneath is sometimes something is going to be a little harder for you to look at or to understand or explain. And then the brown bear is kind of like what we know. So Leo, you know that you are strong, determined, and you're going in a good direction. I feel like in a lot of ways the bear is the Leo. I mean, you can't help but notice them when they're in a room. Just so large and lumbering and straightforward and direct into who they really are. And a bear follows the beautiful patterns of time. It goes through the pattern of, sleeping and waking, hibernating and eating. And it really lives with the seasons. The seasons and the bear are one. And so as you go through this year, celebrate each season. So 2021, there'll be the winter, the spring, the summer, the fall, the winter. So as you go through the year, celebrate each season. Bring out each season in your life. It might even be a good time for some of you, Leo, to look, this is the 9 card, look at your spirituality more, to see how can I understand better the seasons. I know I have one friend who she has thoroughly loved studying all the different holidays and stuff in the Jewish culture, and there's so many celebrations, feast days, as they're kind of called in the Bible, in the Old Testament, and then also in the Jewish culture. And there are, 4 in the pagan philosophies. There are like the 4 major holidays related to the seasons. And then there are other religions that bring out these different seasons. So it might be that this year you could do some studying and learning more about the turning of the seasons in your life. And as you do that, come to 2 things from a new perspective. The only way to get out of the predicament of the porcupine is to kind of come from a new perspective. Don't come from behind. That will be dangerous. So the porcupine, they spend a lot of time in the trees, eating the bark and the leaves, and they have a beautiful sound that they make when all of their quills rub against each other. It has kind of a hollow, beautiful sound, and it's actually the hair that has grown into these hard structures, and they don't shoot their porcupine, quills at you. So this beginner mind is the idea that you look at something as though you were a child. So if a child were to look at a porcupine, would they think danger, 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 or would they think, beauty? And so we can't forget the things that we've learned, and how we're supposed to address those. But at the same time, if we can look at things from a new perspective, we can enjoy and appreciate them better. So the ancestors will talk to us here through the Native American deck. This is also in the description, are all the decks that I use and that I really love. I highly recommend if you're looking for one. The links are below. Or if you just want to learn more about this one that we're using. Okay, so the Warrior of Pipes. Okay, so the pipes are the wands, and the warriors are the knights. So it's the Knight of Wands. And he's rushing into that sun energy, Leo. And he has a lot of stamina and speed. But sometimes warriors are so intent on well, not really, but sometimes we're so intent on one thing we don't see all that's around us. So going along with this bear spirit, it's the concept of, take that time out to really understand yourself so that you can barrel forward into the sun as needed. And then the Maiden of Blades is underneath. So the Maiden is the Page. So it's the Page of Swords. So part of this beginner's mind will be to look at truths and beliefs. And the Page of Swords, she has her little knife there. Actually, it's kind of interesting. She doesn't have this big sword. She has a little knife that she kind of jabs you with when you're not expecting. And a lot of times when I see this card, I'll think about, liars and cheats and thieves that may be coming into your life. And maybe that you have to look at things in a new way to really catch those things that might be coming toward you. Okay, let's take a look at Sagittarius. So the messages for Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, let's take a look at the energies for the Spirit Oracle deck. The first one is the dog spirit. The spirit is spirit animal. Sorry, Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. And I have it down below. I'll listed all of the links for the different things that we use. So the dog spirit has this beautiful energy. I just noticed right in the third eye area, there's that beautiful, kind of like a brooch type of thing. Be loyal to what you love. So Sagittarius, there'll come a time this coming year, your ancestors are telling you that you'll need to be like a dog. Just happy the person's there, content. Actually, it's really cool. I just thought of something. Abraham Hicks talks a lot about relationships, and it's all that it doesn't matter who you're with. What really matters is how you're relating to it, how you're feeling. So be like a dog. Be happy that they're there. Be happy that you're there. Be joyful and happy all the time, and good things will come to you. And if you're with somebody and they're not happy about you being that way, they'll move on. And if you're with somebody who's like a heavy narcissist, as you love yourself enough, you'll know you're not supposed to be with that person, and you'll move on. So things will change and things will grow. You will change cars. You'll move to a new car, a faster, better car at times. But the point is, if you're with your children, enjoy your children, love your children for who they're coming to the table as in your life. Underneath, the badger looks very much the same. Oh my goodness. Be fearless and bold. I mean, those are almost the same two photos in some ways. So the badger comes to you, be fearless and bold. Badgers really are. If you ever get a chance to watch some videos with badgers, it's quite enjoyable, Sagittarius. So if you get a chance, take a look at that. And as you're looking at the badgers in this time period, there'll be times when you will take a bold stand, you'll take a direct stand, but remember, take a happy stand and a pleasant stand at the same time. So let's take a look at the Native American deck for you. So what are your ancestors telling you in 2021? So the first card is the Shaman, which is the Hierophant. So that's the Major Arcana card. And then the Council Chief, which is also a Major Arcana, is the Emperor of 4. Oh, wow. So it's and the four are together. So you might want to look up the number 44 for this next year to see what those messages, the angel messages are. So Sagittarius, as you are doing this happy-go-lucky, I love you, you love me attitude in your life, and just really enjoying the things that you have, like a dog does, it'll help you overcome some of those bigger burdens that you have this year. Maybe things related with the church or with friends or with family. Bigger things like, government and those kind of things. So as you're facing those kind of things this next year, know that by having this spirit of, happiness and joy, no matter what, it will help you to overcome the things that are larger than life. And then if we look at the shaman perspective, looking for, things like guidance from nature and understanding your direction better will be really important. So the council chief is in charge, is kind of like voted in. He's not just, he's like an emperor. He's not over just one tribe. He's the chief of the council of tribes. And so he comes to you with that strong energy, the power, but at the same time, it's not a forever thing like an emperor. He gets voted in, he gets elected. He's more like a president. So, it may be such as that you will have some opportunities even to, to run for some positions. If so, be fearless and bold and go for it. That's what the message is here. Also, you will have an opportunity maybe to be connected with an Aries in some way. You might have a lot of Aries in your chart. And, in whatever you're doing, hold yourself to the being somebody who can respectable in your life. Okay, thank you so much for coming to the reading, Sagittarius. Okay, so let's finish off with the collective reading for what are the ancestors wanting to say to you for 2021. So for those watching in the collective, a special message coming out for those watching for Ancestors 2021. So we'll pull a card first from the Animal Spirit Oracle deck with Colette Brown Reed. We have the Eagle. The Eagle says to us, Spirit has your back. And oh wow, and the owl, the eagle and the owl. So the eagle is during the day and the owl is at night. And the owl is like the underneath of the deck, or the kind of the unknown things. So the owl says you see clearly now. So Spirit has your back, you see clearly now. Okay, so the for the collective, okay, so that's cool. So kind of for the collective, so we think about maybe the whole world that is rising spiritually during this time of the age of Aquarius beginning. So this, the year of 2020 for the whole spiritual collective, what Spirit is trying to tell us, the ancestors, the ones, the ancients of old, the shamans who have moved on, all of these, the greats, they want to come together and to tell us this beautiful energy of the eagle. The eagle is, in a way, the king of the birds. It rides out in its glory on the, like the waves of the wind. It It can see for miles and miles around. You know, when you are doing your little journey, just you yourself, the ant on the earth, as you're walking along your path, and you're coming to this great mountain, and you're like, I wonder if it's worth going to the other side. And it is. You know, it's so worth it for you. And the ego is going to be able to tell you. So spirit comes, these spirits, the ancestors that you knew, the ancestors that you didn't know, the overall ancestors of the world come to you and say, you know, we are the force that rises you above, that brings you above into the stratosphere, be able to see all around you. So you will have that vision and ability and the clarity. And then the owl comes to you and says, even at the nighttime, in the dark times, when it's hard to know your way, you know, I will be there to guide you, to bless you, to give you the ability to see where you're going and what things, you know, see clearly now. And so, to me, the combination of the light and the dark, the day and the night, the sun and the moon, you know, is so significant in this sense. You know, during the year, every single day, the 365 days of the year, there will be the coming up of the sun and the going down of the same. It happens systematically every day for a whole year without fail. And so the ego is coming and is reminding you this pattern will happen in your life. So how are you going to start that day? How will that day begin for you? How will you end the day? How will the day end for you? How will the nights be? The feeling of the night. You know, when you're not able to sleep, one person told me, don't ever fight insomnia. Embrace it. And by embracing it, you'll move past it into the sleep that you need. And so when we look at, you know, sometimes we have trouble sleeping, as a spiritual collective community, know that there are things happening in the pattern of the movement of the stars and the planets, the pattern of the movements of our world that will bring certain things into our lives that will make it easier or harder for us to sleep. And some of us are called to do things during the night and to be ambassadors and warriors and the owls of the night, carrying that wisdom and that vision and the sight with us. Also remember, the owl is patient. It sits and waits the right moment to catch its prey. The same with the eagle. You know, it's floating around and is joyous, and then it can see just the right moment to swoop down on its prey and get the nutrients and the nourishment that it needs. So during this year, your spirit guides want to tell you, during the year of 2020, you know, pay attention to the cycle of the day. Every single day matters and is important, and live consciously. And so here at Spiritual Rebirth Tarot, we really want to be part of your year and to help you. So do subscribe and like the video, share it, and by subscribing and hitting the notification, you'll be able to get more messages throughout the year. And the thing I want to look at on this tarot, the Guardian of the Night. I love it because it's more animals. I love the animal decks. I love the animals. They are so close to our hearts. You know, the card underneath is this one, the play. And so don't forget to play in those days. So as we're looking at Guardian of the Night, let's pull a tarot card for each of these entities. and messages. Okay, so we have the Hierophant. Oh, look at that! This eagle's gonna come down and eat this. It's a part of life. You know, being raised on a farm, you get used to, you know, have a ranch, you get used to things eating things. And things dying in, like, not like people, but like animals, they kind of die. They live and they die, and they're fun and they're move on. So the Hierophant is the big cheese, you know. And so during this year, you know, be that leader, be the really strong, the strong leader. Say, here we are, we're at the bakery, and we're going to go in there, and we're going to get all of that food that we need. And this is how we're going to do it. And so some of you are called to be leaders and planners and directors. Some of you will be called to follow those plans and those leadings. But each one of us can be a leader in our own way. Because what a leader, I realized what a leader really is, somebody who's authentic in and of themselves and helps other people and guides them in their lives. And we can all be, you know, healers, teachers, and guides, as MJ says. The Owl Spirit, so the underneath of the deck is 7 of Cups. Ooh, well, I think the eagle would rather eat this and the owl would eat the other one. The rabbit. I love how his ears are blue, because blue is the color of the throat chakra. And the throat chakra is about communication, and it's as much about listening as it is about speaking. And when you are needing to listen to things, you know, activation of the throat chakra is just as important. So here, he's sitting here with his blue ears, listening to the world, and there's so much opportunity. But he's seeing all this opportunity up in the sky, in the stars. It's like he's looking at the zodiacs, and he's learning about the different signs and the seasons. And what I was talking about, that as the days change, we'll be affected in many ways by the way the planets move and the stars move around us. And so as the stars move, he's finding his opportunities there. So as a whole, we will go back to understanding more and more in the astrology, the astronomy, the nature of the planets, the way things move, both communicate and listen on those paths. So I want to end this collective with a message. How to live a conscious life instead of just an unconscious life. A message from my the wellness deck from Abraham Hicks. Okay. Oh, she's flying a kite, so she's having fun in one of her days. It is my dominant intent to look for what I want to see. So this year you can choose what you look at. You can choose what you see. You can choose, you know, what you watch on TV, what you put in your mind, in your heart. You can choose what you put in your body and what you see at the grocery store and what you don't. You can choose what you see. As you deliberately look for things to appreciate, praise, and enjoy, you achieve vibrational harmony with your own source and with all that is good. And then the powerful law of attraction brings more good things to you. So bringing these good things, these fun things, these plays, enjoyment, this time to relax into your life is by looking at the things that we appreciate, praise, or enjoy. So sometimes I forget this, but you know, it's really nice. You're standing in the kitchen and you're like, there are a ton of dishes that need to be washed. So be thankful for every dish, because if you didn't have dishes, you wouldn't be able to cook with them. So try to find things that we're thankful for. And that's one of the things I've been working on. So this next year is something we can really work on, is finding those little things to be thankful for. You know, you wake up in the morning, you're thankful for a bed to sleep in and a pillow and a blanket to have on me. And if you can't be thankful for that, be thankful for what you do have, and those things will come to you. If you have those things, be thankful for those things, and the universe will continue sending in the law of attraction. It's not a maybe, it's a law. It's a law. It's just like the laws are created by the judges and the rulers and the leaders of the world. You know, it's a law as much as the movement of the planets and the stars. It's a law in our hearts and our minds that what we think about, what we focus on, will be drawn to us. So when we're filled with depression and despair, we will bring other people into our life that are filled with those things. We will bring a life into our life that are filled with those things. So what we focus on now will make all the difference. So this is our collective messages for the year 2021, brought to us through the spirit guides, those in the fourth plane that are ready and willing to help you throughout the year. Call to the angels in the fifth plane, and they will come to you in blessings. Go to the laws in the sixth plane, the laws of attraction, the law of the universe. All of those things, anywhere from gravity to truth, and they will come and bring to you. And call to the creator of all that is, the source of all that is, your source on the seventh plane, and it will bring those energies to you. And so as we look at all those things, blessings to you in the coming year. So come on over to the extended. We'll be asking some additional questions, both things like what is the message from your higher self for the year 2021, but also we'll ask the ancestors questions like, how do you see life on Earth? How do you think we could make it easier? What is the difference between being a soul and a body, and a soul in a body? So whatever we have time for in the extended, we'll ask some of those questions and see where the tarot and the oracles lead. So come on over to the extended about 2021. We'd love to have you. The link is below. If not, blessings to you in 2021.